All right, you want to just do the theme music and jump in?
That works for me. We can.
All right,
This is
awesome.
my first time doing one of these, so
Is it? Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna bring that up again then.
Oh.
Thank you for doing this for us. This is fun.
Oh no, no, no. No, I enjoy it. I was excited to do this. It seems like a really neat thing. I've just never done a podcast before, so I'm kind of like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, it's just chill, having a conversation, let people know what you're doing, who you are, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
it's something else that you can always cut up later if you want to use pieces of conversation as far as like
Mhm.
PR stuff or getting your face out there for directors, casting directors, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. You ready? Ready when you are.
Talking with words.
Hey, Ted, thanks for joining us, Talking with Words. We met at the Dallas International Film Festival a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Happy to have you here.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. I'm grateful to be here. It's crazy. Like I said, it's my first time doing one of these, so be gentle.
Yeah.
The main
we're
thing.
usually gentle. We bring lube. Don't worry.
See, yeah, yeah.
First of all, thanks for taking some time down in Dallas. We're up in Northwest Arkansas. It was great. I mean, everyone there was really friendly and outgoing, and it was a little different than what we've experienced in some other uh, film
Yeah, it was a little
gatherings. I
bit
don't know what you
different
would call them.
than a few others we've been to.
So
Oh yeah, no,
thanks again for
yeah,
coming and talking to us. That was cool, and just hearing the stories and things like that.
no. That's yeah. I mean, that's a good thing about. I mean, everybody I've met for Dallas International Film Festival has been great. They're wanting to grow it, so it's been. It's not just because of that they're being very accepting. They're just very accepting people overall. But I mean, it's I always operate off the premise when I got into acting, like I would ask people, I'd be like, hey, ask other actors, be like, hey, I don't know what to do here. What should I do? Looking for some advice kind of thing. And I got a lot of, hey, go fuck yourself. No, can I curse
Oh
on here?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
All you
I
want.
was I was an infantryman for a long time, so
Yeah,
that filter's kind of broke.
let's talk
But
about some of your background. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. Uh, we were like, we man, know him from somewhere. We'd seen you before, and it was the uh,
So the Texas Hammer commercials. I'm originally from Texas, and as
yeah,
like we walked away from talking to you initially, and I was like, I know him from somewhere, and I can't figure out where. And on
that
your little reel that popped up, I saw that bit of the commercial. I'm like, oh my god, that's it. That's exactly where I know him from.
weirdly enough, that clip has been used by different lawyers in different places, and it was that was an interesting thing because I was just one of those little like a buddy of mine called me and was like, "Hey man, I know you got a motorcycle. I'm doing this thing commercial for a lawyer. I need somebody with a motorcycle, and yours is kind of cool. So let's get it out there." And I was like, "Yeah, cool, man. I'll come." Just rode out there and did it, and they had the actual guy. Like I was portraying a real guy. I thought it was just a kind of just the this conglomerate of people, but no, it's an actual dude, and I know why he's not in that commercial. And he's got a face for radio. You know what I
oh
mean? He's rough, and not saying that I'm the most beautiful man out there, I'm not, but it was it was really interesting to do that. I've never done. I mean, it's a quick hit type thing, so it was really a lot of fun, and it's funny to see how that's gone different places.
it's
You
not a
know,
bad thing if they're calling, hey, we need a good looking guy with a motorcycle, and you're the name that
hey,
pops
hey,
up.
hey. Yeah, yeah, I felt honored. Don't get me wrong. Anytime they call me, I'm like, for anything, I'm like, me. No, I'm extremely grateful. This is. I literally kind of. I got out of the army in 2018 and didn't know what I wanted to do when I grow up. So I ended up at Amazon, like every good army guy that gets out and doesn't know what he wants to do, and just wasn't big into the rat race and doing everything else. And I had met up with a friend of mine named Colin Egglesfield. He's an actor. He's been in quite a few movies and stuff like that. And he was like, "You don't look happy, man. You should go back to acting. You liked that." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't like unguaranteed bills."
Yeah.
And so and I don't like having unguaranteed money because I don't have unguaranteed bills. Sorry, I said that. I had that whole thing planned out and I said it all wrong. But I my wife said go for it and tried it and fell in love with it, and now I get to tell stories to people, and if they like the stories they pay me for it, and it's fun to me. It reminds me of when I saw Star Wars as a kid, because I want to be able to tell a story that's immersive like that. Like in Star Wars, you're watching Star Wars, but you think if I turn around, it's just more Star Wars stuff. You know what I mean? It's you feel immersed in that world,
Yeah.
and when good storytelling happens, that's how you feel. You feel like you're right there with them, and it's always so cool to when you bring that to somebody. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%. We're down with playing imaginary. We do it as
Yeah.
much as
Oh
we
no.
possibly can.
I believe me. And I've grown into it more. I really when I first got into it, I was very much like. I didn't want to do the work. I didn't want to, memorize the lines. Thought I could just look over at last minute and I could snap this out. No, it's actually a harder job than I thought. I mean, it's a lot harder. It's I didn't know where to start out, so I started out being an extra on whatever show was around here or anything that I could get onto, just to be on set and learn
Right.
what's going on and build those relationships. I mean, people tend to look down upon background actors, but I think it's important because you do network quite a bit and you do learn a lot about what's going on the set instead of walking out there your first day. And so when it does come up to stand up in front of the camera, you feel a little more polished and ready to be there. It's not so much an imposter syndrome.
Yeah, for sure. I had the exact same feeling when I had to memorize my first lines. I was like, oh shit, all this, huh? Okay.
Oh yeah. The first thing I ever had to memorize and deliver back was, I mean, literally like two sentences, and they weren't long either. It was like, see spot run kind of thing. And I fucked that up by the numbers. It was get up there and I'm like, and just staring in the camera. And they're like, action, action. Are you going to do something? I'm like, oh, what? Huh? You know, but I mean, I have a wonderful coach down here and it's really been, and a lot of, I mean, the support that, I hark back to Diff and stuff like that, the support they've given me, the support that, the other actors around me, because the there's a pretty good core group of actors around here that we're all in the same age range, we're all in the same, we would compete for roles if you think about it,
Right.
but we don't look at it that way. In fact, I was just helping a buddy of mine, a really good friend of mine named Brian, I was a reader for his self tape, and me and him, we end up at a lot of auditions as competition, if you will, but we
Right.
don't even look at it that way. We look at it as, hey, if you get the part, that's awesome. We'll lift each other up because we know, you're going to be up there someday, but until your name gets in those lights, clap for the guys that do, you know,
Right. Yeah.
it's just one of the things. I mean, and both of us kind of had similar things coming into this business where you ran into those guys that everything's a big competition and everything is, they're like, I don't give a shit about you. And I'm going to tell you how much I don't give a shit,
Right.
so that way you kind of get discouraged and go away, but I believe I think I mean, teaching, helping others learn, that closes that knowledge gap for yourself. You know what I mean? It's like, I was a jiu-jitsu guy a long time ago, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I've got a brown belt in it under Carlos Machado and Clay Pittman out of Texas.
Cool.
I loved jiu-jitsu. It was a lot of fun. I picked it up in college, trained at it, fought, in tournaments. I even did MMA once. That was crazy. I don't want to do that again. I got too expensive teeth.
Yeah.
um, but did that. But I was when I was first doing it as a white belt and even into a blue belt, I was kind of like, I don't know, just try not to get choked out, try not to get armbarred. But my coach Clay gave me an opportunity to help come teach he had a Texas Tech class because we were in Lubbock. He had a Texas Tech class that he had negotiated through the school. And so through helping him teach that, and at first I was just the dummy, stick your arm up here and then
Right.
get arm barred, but then after a while I started teaching it. It really closed the gaps in my knowledge on jujitsu to where it really like it started firing off. Before it was like when you get two electric wires near each other, like
Oh yeah.
and then it just then it was connected after that. So I look at acting the same way. I think that if I can help, and I don't have all the answers, and I don't have many of the answers, but if I don't know something, I'll go ask somebody else.
Yeah.
I'll go try to find you the answer. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of attitude really helps out in this world. You know what I mean? Because it shows you want to be there. It shows you're not just there to sit there and stand out to be like, I'm an actor.
Right.
Come take pictures of me, fawn over me, like you should do. And no, that's crap. We're here like every other business. We're just our product is telling that story.
Right.
And any day that quits, and some actors do get a little bit too believing in that this can never go away.
Right.
This can go away at any time. You need to, if you treat it like that, it's great because you're always. It's kind of like The Rock. I know it's a bad example because him as an actor is kind of. I've heard stories of him being pretty rough as an actor, but like the way he looks at working out, like he's always says it. He goes, the rent's due every day.
Yeah.
And you're gonna, and that's the way I look at acting. It's if I'm not learning, if I'm not going forward, if I'm not helping others go forward, I mean, why am I here?
And I love that mindset. That's kind of what we do with the people we work with here because we're just doing short YouTube stuff. That's what we
Mhm.
started with, and we bring
Hey,
we get our friends and we're like,
that's
what do you want to do? What do you want to learn?
yeah. Well, there's and funny enough, you say the YouTube stuff. I mean, this is just one little weird case in point that I know about. Fallout, which is a huge series right now. With shit.
Walton
He's gonna kill me
Goggins.
because Walton's a friend of mine on Facebook. He's gonna kill me when you hear it. I can't remember his name. But Walton with that, but they literally took these guys from, and I can't remember it was a short YouTube thing. They did like a series, like 3 or 4 episodes, but they were only like 15, 16 minutes a piece.
Yeah.
And it was some guys that did it by themselves. Like, I mean, very indie film, almost student film level,
Right.
and did their own version of the Wasteland and kind of the person wandering out of the vault and doing stuff like that. And that gave some, I mean, even the guys from the Fallout series said, hey, that gave us quite a bit of inspiration to see that coming to life.
Yeah.
And now seeing it on Amazon where they've got the budget to do all the craziness.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big Fallout fan. So seeing the power armor guys run around,
Oh yeah.
I was like, because I play Fallout, I play 76. Me and my daughter play that, played Fallout 4, played all of them.
Yeah. I've played them all
So
as
it's
well.
kind of,
I was excited.
yeah, I'm a big video gamer. So in fact, on the other side, like right here where y'all can't see is I got like a huge TV and all my gaming setup stuff.
I've got Red
But
Dead Redemption 2 paused right over there.
no, I love, what I read for, and it's weird where we draw like inspiration from, but I read for a Western down here. I actually like doing Westerns. I grew up kind of, I grew up here in Mansfield, Texas, which way back then was like the land of 10,000 trailer parks. It was a little dinky town. And, I worked as a cowboy on ranches back during, my college days, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've always had kind of a yearning towards that side of life. And so like doing Western stuff, I love doing them, but I did one where I was reading for, and I can't even remember the Western, to tell you the truth. It was an indie one, but it was a period piece. And I used the guy from Red Dead Redemption, Arthur,
Yeah.
just kind of as my inspiration because the way he kind of looks at things, the way he kind of goes through things, and even to his mannerisms and how he talks
Yeah.
was just really, I was like, this is that character.
That's
And
awesome.
even the director was like, yes, we're not taking you though. we liked you. We liked your audition, but and I was like, ah.
And you've done a lot of Western stuff.
Mhm.
You've been
Yeah,
on. I mean, you
oh
because
yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking at what Walker and
Mhm.
we were talking when we met you the last time. We were talking about 1883.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, uh, shoot, and names are totally bad today. Um, my buddy was there from 1883, right when I think y'all were there when me and him took a picture together.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
it might have been right before, right after, but yeah, he was. They were there promoting another movie, but he was actually Tim McGraw's daughter, Isabella May. It was her boyfriend in the show at first, and he gets killed off.
Oh
Enos,
yeah,
the blonde-headed guy.
yeah. I remember you
Which
talking about
actually,
that.
cool side note. And they're I know they were kind of developing a film for Kurt Cobain where he was looking at playing Kurt Cobain. So that's really cool. You know what I
Really?
mean? I think that's another cool. And I know I jump everywhere. My ADD kind of.
No, we're the same.
Same. Yeah.
And
But
you
yeah,
hung
no, it
out with
was.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, I actually hung out. I got to hang out with him twice. Funny enough, I was back when they were filming We Were Soldiers. I was working for Airborne School, the U.S. Army Airborne School, as what we call snowbird. I was waiting for my orders to go somewhere else, and so they didn't. Of course, no matter if you have orders or not, you're going to work somewhere. So my buddy, who was actually the executive officer for the Airborne School, said, "Well, hey, I'll take you over here. You won't be doing your job as an infantryman, but you'll be." Sticking in our supply or in personnel or something like that, but you can go jump all the time, which wasn't that big of a thing to me. I don't like heights, even though I'm airborne qualified
And
and jumped out of
airborne, yeah.
planes a lot. I just, but they were filming that's the scene where they're getting ready to go to Vietnam and they're all running to the buses
Yeah.
and it's in the middle of the night and they're like, go, go, go. That scene was actually filmed on the physical training track for airborne school. They do the run on. And so we were on the other side of the cameras.
Okay.
And the cool thing
Nice.
was the commander of the airborne school was like, hey, would it be, possible to talk to some of the stars? Cause, I got some of my officers back here, they're just, and they were like, the director was like, yeah, man, that'd be really cool. Sam was one of the guys that came over and I mean, the guy's great. I never understood why every woman from 2 to 200 just gets weak in the knees for him, but he's a beautiful individual. He's just such a nice guy. And then years later on 1883, we were actually filming at Fort Worth at when they turned they turned the upper part of the stockyards into basically Hell's Half Acre from the 1800s.
Okay.
Oh,
And he's standing there, looking iconic Sam Elliott, like a cowboy. You just look at him, you're like, damn, that's a cowboy. And I walked by and I made some quip about, hey, Sergeant Major, what's the weather looking like today? And I just watched him kind of, getting onto a PA about something. But he turned around, he was like, he goes, that's funny because I know what movie that's from. And I said that, and yeah, he goes, do I know you? I said, yeah, we met. I said, I know you won't remember me, but the coolest thing ever, I was a second lieutenant when you met me. And I got to shake your hand. It was the coolest thing ever at Fort Benning. He goes, oh, I kind of remember. It's like, is that scene where y'all run out to the buses that morning? I worked for the airborne school. And he was like, that is really cool. He goes, no, he goes, I don't remember you. And I'm like, I don't expect you to.
Yeah.
But it was so cool just to be able to kind of see him again and be like, hey, And then and as after kind of establishing that, he was like, of course, then every time he rode by me or something like that, he'd ride by me and then kick me or something like that. It just got to be fun, he's a really nice guy. He's real, I mean, for his age, he's spry too, on top of that.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if I'll be doing this at that age.
No
And
doubt.
I know it hurts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw Forey at the Diff Festival. Forey from Yellowstone with the older guy with the handlebar mustache.
Yep.
yeah.
And Forey used to be a cowboy back. I say used to be he used to be a ranch hand out here in the Wichita Falls area up on the border for a long time. And he's known around these parts, and you could tell. I told him, I was like, I hope I can still move around like you when I get your age. He's like, what? I'm only 28. But I was like, no, okay, yeah. Okay. But I was like, because he looks. I mean, you could tell they're hurting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I could deal with that.
You did that for
They're
so
still going
long.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you went and read. What else were you doing at Diff?
Actually, I got brought in to help volunteer with the red carpet and then some of the other kind of operation stuff to kind of manage, the volunteers, stuff like that, which was great. It was fun meeting everybody. But then the side note is the acting studio I go to, which is Cheryl's acting studio, which Michelle Cheryl is my coach. Um, they did a screenwriting contest for Diff. It is separate, another entity, and they contracted with her to bring in. She would cast it just like a regular, like any other casting, and bring those actors in to do a table read, which I'd never done a performance table read. I've done pre-production ones, and those usually consist of a bunch of guys sitting in a conference room playing on their phones and going through the scenes. But I mean, it's not coherent. It's not, you're just working on your parts. You're not really as in tune to the entire. I mean, you are, but you're not. And doing it as a performance, it was really cool because with all three, and I got cast in all three, I was able to bring to life a character for these guys that hadn't been brought to life yet. They had an idea in their head and I told them, I said, the best thing I could do, the most complimented part of it is that you said, if you close your eyes and say, that's the guy I thought, that's the character I thought I had in my mind.
Right.
And all three sets of writers said that because there were more than one writer on some of them. But it was really cool because these guys were, with the exception of one, the other two it was their first time ever doing this. Their first time pitching a script, anything else. And I don't know that I could do it. There's a lot of crap involved with it, and I don't know that I could write that much. You know what I mean? I can say what they put down all the time, but I mean, I don't think I'm creative enough in everything else to write the story. But it was really cool to bring that character to life for him, especially with like the first one I did, Olivia Mabel, which is a really kind of a horror thriller, like along lines like Rosemary's Baby, that kind of stuff. And I played a guy named Travis Mabel, which is the main character's husband. And Travis was a guy who basically peaked in high school. That's pretty much it. And then everything else was downhill. He was an alcoholic, beat his wife, and I mean, I accidentally killed a guy in high school, but because his family had money, it kind of got covered up. It was a drunk driving accident kind of thing. And they were like, well, and I really let my kind of Texas twang come out, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to send it full. I was like, hey y'all, how y'all doing? And I really brought it out because I've worked for years to kind of keep that away, doing some of the other stuff I do in the academic world. And and the guy was like, wow. He goes, when we closed our eyes, that's what we thought. And we thought, because one of the writers was English, and he was like, he's from England, and he said, that's one of the things that when I think of Texas, I thought, I closed my eyes and that was you.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you. I was like, that's the biggest compliment I can have. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And then he was like, when I closed my eyes, you were Travis. You know what I mean? And even just because we weren't moving and doing stuff like that, because you're just standing up, and I kind of try to move to give it some, talk my hands and such. So it gives it some semblance of actually entertainment instead of just some guy standing up there with a binder going, and now, and it was really cool just to give them, to be able to bring that to life for them. You know what I mean? I hope that when that goes to, because it's a great script, when it goes to a movie or it goes to, they go to film, hopefully I keep pestering them, like poke, poke, poke. I was like, remember me? He goes, I want to play Travis. I told him, I said, I don't care where I'm at in my career. I'd really like to play Travis, and I'll do it. That's not, if I'm doing bigger things at the time, I'll put that on hold, and I'm not, do it for free if I had to. I just love to do it. That and then the third storyline, or the third story we did, was called Adventures in Serial Killing, which was kind of a horror comedy.
Okay.
About a family. It's the son and daughter find out that they thought dad was a serial killer. There was a serial killer they kept seeing on television called I believe it was like the Hotel Strangler or something like that. And I played the dad actually in it, but they find out no, it's actually the mom that's a serial killer and the dad's a setup man. He's the one that finds the person to kill. And it goes through a lot of hilarity, and at the end, it's kind of like almost a Saw type situation where the kids get locked in the house and mom's on
Oh,
the speaker saying, "If you answer this question correctly and do this riddle, you can move out of your little area." So it was really fun, and those guys, like honestly, the guy that wrote it, it was Jack was he said he goes, this was my first shot into it. I tried so many times to get this one, but I kept getting sidetracked everything else. And I was like, well, hopefully we did well at it. And he was like, he goes, honestly, it brought a tear to my eye watching because he wasn't there when we did it. Actually, they were actually recording it on Zoom, and they had a laptop sitting up there recording it for him. And he goes, it brought a tear to my eye to watch y'all do it. He goes, he goes, even though it's a table read and even though it's, there's not really a lot of action or there's not a lot of props and so much you think about when acting, it's, in fact, he just liked one of my photos that I was telling about where I took a picture and said, I'm getting ready to do a podcast. I'm excited. Actually, Jack, the writer from that, just liked my photo on Instagram. But he was like, man, it brought a tear to my eye, to actually, see that get brought to light. And that another big compliment, it really, on a side note to me, it validated me as an actor because you do so many auditions and you do so many self tapes and you go to all these classes. And Michelle, my coach, she's not one of those people that's going to tell you you're the greatest thing ever. She's going to be like, no, you suck, and here's why. Fix it. You know what I mean? And it's good. It's good because
right.
I really thrive in that environment, and it's really brought me up, like brought my game up higher. But you do all that, and 99% of the time you never hear anything back. So you're like, I must suck. I don't think I know what I'm doing. And then you get that one little sliver, that you're like, oh, cool, I booked something, and it's just awesome. And then I sit there and to have other actors and other writers be like, hey, you brought that character to life, and it almost made me cry, kind of thing. And I was just like, wow, I'm an actor. It's crazy. I mean, I had a friend told me a long time ago, you're going to pretend to be an actor for a long time because you don't want to bring it up. When you go to a party and everybody's like, you get the inevitable question, what's everybody doing? And everybody's like, I'm a doctor and I'm an engineer. And you're like, I'm an actor. And they're always, and then you feel like all those eyeballs look at you like, so you're an unemployed waiter.
Yeah.
And you're like, and you always stigmatize yourself with that. And I did for a long time. I really was like, I didn't want to tell anybody. I was like, because I felt that I was going to tell them that, and they're going to be like, this guy's automatically a failure. But I found out that, having that validation was actually a big thing to me that helped me out. But I mean, it was, but like the first time I actually said it, said, hey, you know what? You're an attorney? That's great. I'm an actor. Hey, how's it going? I'm Ted. And they were like, wow, that's really cool. And I'm like, wait, that wasn't what I was expecting at all. I was expecting, oh, you're trying.
But it's such a different world
And
because you're just either you don't get a response, it's radio silence, or it's no, 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 no until it's yes. And once you get that first yes, it kind of opens the door a little bit. And it's the only occupation that really does it quite like that. The creatives, the actors, the directors, the writers, all those guys, you're gonna get told 10,000 times before anyone's like, well, let me think about it, maybe. And you're like, oh shit, they're thinking about it. Maybe, maybe.
And then you're like,
yeah. What are you
I'm
working
sorry,
on now?
I talk a lot. So
No, that's perfect for us. What are you working on next? Or what you said you had an interview yesterday?
Yeah, actually, I went to audition last night, actually, out in Alito, Texas, which is another little tiny place. Like if you go just west of nowhere, and you make a left, you'll run into it. It's like where my wife's from in the Panhandle. It's just
Okay.
it's a small place, but it's I don't really know the film yet. I wanted to get onto it because it's a friend of mine named Mo Hendrick. He's doing the directing for it. The guy's a great storyteller, and I've seen some of his previous work, and that was what I was like. I'm in. I'm sold. I want to get in on it. I don't care what it is. I don't care what I have to read for. It seems to be. I mean, it's without getting too much into it because I know that they're still a little
Right.
touchy feely about that. I mean, it seems to be it's going to be Western themed, but it's not a period piece. It'll be more modern.
Okay.
So I think I really like how he from the scenes I saw how his take on it because he's really in-depth storytelling. It really builds the world, if you will, and that's a big thing to me. Is that did I actors can do so much to help build that world, but if we don't have the source material from it, it becomes kind of hollow a little bit. So it helps to have if both are in concert. It's like the hand. Fingers are kind of pliable, but you put them together as a fist, that's strong. You know.
Yeah, I like that
Sorry,
analogy.
old fight analogy.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
But and besides that, I mean, right now I'm working on actually two films I got signed for. The first one is called Dovey's Promise, and it's by a guy named Ralph, and it's an interesting original story, and it's about a lady named Dovey. She was an African American lawyer, and it's about a case she defends of a guy who is basically getting railroaded by the police. And I play one of the police officers, but the police officer I play is more straight laced, is not going along with that railroading. He's the one that kind of gives the truth of, hey, this is what we found and this is why. He's more about the badge and that being a lot more to him than, we're gonna get this black guy,
Yeah.
because it's really it's a great story. And actually, funny enough, it's being done twice right now. It's kind of like when we were shooting Bass Reeves, they were also shooting a movie called Corsicana, which Isaiah Washington from ER
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy, ER. She was filming down in Corsicana, which is just south of Dallas Fort Worth area. It's basically the same story. It's just different takes on it, which is cool. I love that. I'm a big fan of that. But they also just did the same kind of story in San Antonio that had Eric Roberts on it. Is because a friend of mine was in that, and he called me and we were talking about it. I was like, man, that sounds pretty familiar. Like I've got this script in my hand, you know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
signed on to do this movie. And he's like, yeah. He goes, there's two movies being filmed concurrently, different people and different takes, which is cool because I always like to compare the takes. You know what I mean? It's like Tombstone and Wyatt Earp.
Right.
Granted, Tombstone was more of a picture in time. You know what I mean? Or rather, Wyatt Earp was his whole lifetime.
Right.
But it was neat to see the differences when you look at the Tombstone part in Wyatt Earp to the Tombstone part in Tombstone. So
Sure.
it's kind of cool to see how the characters are portrayed, how the actors take a different take on them, even how the storytelling is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be neat to see. I'm also doing another one about, and the title I'm NDA'd on, so I can't. But the premise of the movie, which I can actually talk about, funny enough, is the first female football player in Texas, which was in the 50s to 60s. And the controversy that went along with her and the whole part, this is up in the panhandle in West Texas, caused the UIL, which is the governing body for sports in Texas, to ban women from playing football until like 98 or something like that. Like it was
Wow.
30 years later that, 30, 40 years later, which this story is really cool too. I'm big on the history of stuff. So I when I saw this casting, I was like, it sounds familiar. And I looked at the town, so I started looking it up on the internet and started kind of looking back into it. And I read the story of it and read the actual from the person that the girl actually and her coach and a couple other people read their accounts of it. And it was just it's one of those really good, like, her accomplishments and everything else was a feel good part of it, not the UIL banning women for 40 years
Right.
from
Right.
football, but it literally it's neat to see that underdog fight. You know what I mean? That one doesn't have a chance, but then comes out on top. You know what I mean? They didn't win a state championship or stuff like that, but she was successful in what she did, and it was that was really a cool thing. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty prominent. I mean, people not prominent, but people love underdogs. I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that's what our
I
world's
mean,
based on here,
and
that's
it's you
especially.
know, and it was like there was a movie premiering at Diff called The Senior, and I didn't even know it was premiering at Diff, to tell you the truth, because I didn't necessarily look at all the stuff for it because we were going. I mean, I was getting there. I was working from about 9 a.m. till about 11 or 12 at night. So
Yeah.
I was burning that candle at both ends at that point. And I had a couple of auditions during the middle of that, like self tapes. I had to do that during those nights. So it was like I'm like rolling in like, oh, but the senior, I was actually in for a very bit part for one of the scenes. I kind of lost track of the movie because I wasn't a big part with it. I was actually filming on Walker, and I was up here in Dallas, and the Legacy Casting, who does a lot of the casting around here for all the different local TV shows and some of the national. You know, it just depends. They do a lot of the casting. Their their boss over there, he called me and said, "Hey, can you help me out with this? We just need a person here for, you don't got to do much. It's just a little thing." He goes, "But I know you got to be on Walker." And this was like Wednesday morning. He goes, "I know you got to be on Walker on Thursday in Austin, 2.5 hours away in the morning, but this thing's going to film all night." And so I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Hell with it. I'll do it." He goes, "I'll get Walker pushed back because I just had to do the fittings and stuff for what I was doing at that time."
Okay. Yeah.
And so they were like, "Yeah, we'll get it pushed back." We filmed all night on that, and it was with uh shoot, the guy who played the Thing in the original Fantastic Four, and it was in the Shield.
Oh,
Um,
Chiclet.
Michael Chiklis.
yeah, Michael Chiklis. I'm not batting 1,000 with
That's what we're
names
here
today. I'm
for,
just like,
man. We got you.
hey, yeah, that y'all are saving my ass here. I don't have people, texting me and email, "You son of a bitch." We've been friends for 30 years. What the fuck? No. But no, and Michael was that guy is that was a great set to be on, to tell you the truth. It was, honest to God, I was only there for 12 hours, but just, and a lot of the folks, I mean, we also keep in touch, stuff like that, but I didn't even know it was premiering. It's, in fact, on my IMDb, it's still like upcoming. And
Yeah.
I was like, or in post production. I was like, man, when's this movie ever coming out? And so I saw like five of the dudes and a lady named Gail Cronauer was in the movie too. They came on the red carpet, and I walked over. I was like, man, what movie were y'all in? That I was like, the only movie I know that all of us were in together, I was in with you, was The Senior. And they're like, yeah, no shit, it's premiering here tonight. And I was like, she's like, do you work here or something? I'm like, yeah. I was like, sorry, but and it was that was a great movie, kind of underdog story too. Michael Chiklis plays a guy who went to school at Sul Ross, which, I'm naming all these places in Texas, and unless you live near those places, you wouldn't know
Yeah.
where the hell they are. There's Sul Ross down the valley, and it's a small college down there. It's still a small college to this day. He was playing football down there, and something happened, and he ended up getting getting taken off the team and ended up dropping out of school. So he went along and he did other jobs for a long, long time. Decided to finish his degree at like 55 or something like that. Came back and still had a year eligibility to play. So came back kind of like Rudy and played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool, interesting story. And I got to meet the guy who Mike was playing, and it was, I mean, hell, that dude, he's in his 70s now, and he's still built like a brick shit house.
Really.
Like, yeah, he got real big into fitness and stuff like that. Like, he was like, yeah, I still just knock out like 20 pull-ups just at once. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're making me feel bad.
Yeah.
It's like I'm over patting my beer gut and being like, yep. But he it was, that guy, he came back and played 1 year, and they had kind of it wasn't really a magical season. It was a winning season, but it was, it was just a really cool underdog story about how those times when it gives everybody else the hope. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's kind of like. And speaking of football movies, weirdly enough, I've done a couple. I did Invincible way back in the days of Mark Wahlberg, and that was another one of those kind of just really underdog movies. I mean, Vince Papale, that's who Mark Wahlberg is portraying in that movie, which they look nothing alike. Mark's shorter
Yeah.
guy. Vince Papale is a good 4 inches taller than I am, even to this day. And he's a big guy, but he walked on to the Philadelphia Eagles football team and made the team back
Right.
during when
Yeah.
I guess it was Dick Vermeil. No, I forgot who the coach was. Um, Whenever he took over, they held like open tryouts.
Yeah.
Which can you imagine him doing something like that today? It'd be
Oh,
cool. Don't get me wrong. It would be cool, but I mean,
you'd
damn.
have a reality TV show series every season.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That would
Yeah.
eventually turn
Yeah.
into these people that show up out of the woodwork, I'm sure.
Oh,
Well,
you see it with a lot of other things. I mean, I watched the other night. Of course, I'm the worst about reality TV. I'm and not really a lot of reality. I watch the first 48 like religiously.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I know it's the same thing. They find the guy, they're gonna find the killer, they're gonna do all this stuff, but it's so just interesting to me to watch the procedural part of it and everything else. But my daughter watches like Dance Moms,
Oh
my
man.
youngest daughter. Yeah, that's painful. That is a painful show because I'm like, yeah, I'm and my daughter was like, "Aren't you glad I didn't go into dance?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's graduating this next. Well, she's doing her prom tomorrow, but she's graduating from high school this
Oh wow.
oh,
Awesome.
awesome.
next Saturday.
That's her.
Yeah, I'm feeling older now. That gray hair is just so it's like a level. It just keeps going up.
You can't even
you
see it
know.
from here.
Next time I'll look like Steve Martin. Next time y'all see me, I'll be like, "What?" I don't even know what happened.
Yeah,
But
my
no,
wife, because my kids they're in dance right now. I've got two girls, and my wife knows if I walk in the room and she's watching Dance Mom, she's gonna pause it because I'm gonna say some shit or I'm gonna make
oh
some
yeah,
comment under my breath. She'll just pause it and
oh yeah,
watch me as I walk through the room. Okay,
yeah.
and then
The
hit play
second
again.
second you're out of eye line, then okay, play. Yeah, because I'm the same way. I'll sit down and watch it for a few minutes because she's like, "Dad, will you watch it with me?" And I'm like, "No, no, I hate this. I truly hate this. I don't like. I mean, the drama and stuff like that. I'm like, this seems. I mean, it seems kind of made up, but it also seems like I'm like, no, I can see that happening.
Yeah,
I'm like,
really toxic.
which
Yeah.
is, yeah. They're just that toxic. I was like, no, and it's that. And she used to watch the gypsy one. That one really got me because it's about gypsies and
Oh,
it's just
I can't recall that. I know
it's like my gypsy wedding.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a train wreck and a half.
Oh yeah.
That was always like they're like my big fat gypsy wedding. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I remember because I watched one episode with her and I was like, holy shit, these people actually exist. And she's like, well, no, it's probably just more scripted. And I'm like, I don't know if you can script that one. Like, that's some three teeth bullshit over there. I don't know if they can script that one.
that guy's eating a live
It just
raccoon right now.
yeah, I was like, well, yeah, it's like that. You ever seen that? What is it? It's the Wonderful Wild World of the Whites in West Virginia.
I don't think so.
I
That is a
I've seen bits and pieces. Yeah.
yeah. You've seen that train wreck. That yeah.
It's
That
nuts.
it was on Netflix for a while. It's nuts. Like it follows a family out of West Virginia that the original patriarch, and I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he developed some kind of like tap dancing thing where he put horseshoes in the bottom of his his shoes and he tap danced like on the side of the deal and people come from around all around to see this and they called him Hillbilly Jesus. And I was like, and once I heard that I was like, okay, you've got my attention.
Good name
But
for
it
a
was
country
just
song.
yeah, it's I mean it's ridiculous. Like at one point like and the family's just so they gotten into drugs and every other thing, and it's just such a train wreck of a family. Hank Williams III is friends of theirs and hangs out with them. So if that tells you where this is
Okay.
going,
Yeah.
yeah. And so they were like at one point one of them is giving birth to a baby in a hospital. She gives birth and it's a baby boy and they're like, oh yeah, and then the nurses take her off and they go out of the room for a second, clean the baby, do all that stuff. And she looks over at her brother who's there and goes, "Hey, I need you to rack one up." And he starts cracking, it breaks out a pill bottle and starts grinding up pills so she can
Oh,
take a hit. I'm like, holy crap. Like, and they're filming this, and I'm like, yeah, as an actor, yeah, we filmed some situations that, like, with the fake cocaine or stuff like that. But holy shit, that's real. And but then the guy he looks at the camera deadpan, and he goes, "You want to hear a West Virginia mating call?" And he shakes the pill bottle, and
oh,
I was like, if I laugh at this, Jesus is judging me.
looking over your shoulder.
I was like, yeah, I know, yeah, like that, like they show in those TikTok videos. He's like, and yeah, it was crazy.
Gotta love trash TV.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and right now my wife and my daughters, they watch Griselda, which is actually a pretty good show. I actually thought it was interesting. She's the drug queen pin back in
Oh,
60s, 70s, in the 80s. And it's really kind of cool to see that kind of all those styles come back in and that I was alive for at the time. And I'm like, oh, we wore that shit.
oh yeah.
I think I found a picture my parents had of me when I was like this big, and I'm like in a little leisure suit and we're like at Sears getting pictures, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
with the background of mountains and stuff. And everybody's like,
Yep.
and yeah, I was in a I look like right after that I was going to go sell like an 86 Cutlass to somebody on a used car lot. That's what
You're
I
just on
looked like.
lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just on lunch. I did,
Get back in the
and
Wi-Fi.
yeah, but no, that was cool. And now they're watching Bridgerton again,
Oh man, my
which,
wife just got on that.
yeah, that's, you know, I never really got into the Bridgerton thing. You know, I didn't even know anybody on there. So I wasn't really, it's kind of, I glanced at, but they were I think they watched like 10 episodes last night. I was like,
Damn.
Oh man.
Jesus. I
Yeah.
was like, I can't even do that. And I'm an actor. I was like, damn, I can't watch that much TV. But no, yeah. And yeah. So they're going through Bridgerton right now. And it's good. It's cool to see them get interested. I mean, most of the movies that I've been in, I have not watched.
Really?
And I did later. I did later, but I didn't like watch them when they first came out or something like that. And a lot of it was because I thought I would be overly critical of what I was doing, or
Oh
I
yeah.
would be upset if they cut something out that I wanted, that I thought was, I just thought I was, get an Oscar for this. But then they were like, nope, cut that out.
Yeah.
So then you just see my hand. They're like, oh, that no,
Yeah.
you know. But and it was funny because my wife was like, I hadn't seen Oppenheimer, and I was in that. It was a very small part, but I mean, it was. And my wife ended up. She sent me a screenshot. She's like, "Is this you?" And I was like, "What movie is that?" And she's like, "Oppenheimer." I was like, "I haven't seen that yet." She's like, "How have you not seen the movie? It's like a generational type movie, and you're in it, for Christ's sakes,
Yeah.
and you haven't even seen it." And I was like, "Yeah, I just hadn't watched it yet." And so I finally watched it. I was like, "Wow, that
I'm
was a really
doing
cool
that.
movie to work with." It was. Christopher Nolan is. I usually when you get on set, you're focused onto what you're doing. You're focused onto your process. You're focused on, you're taking direction, stuff like that. But you're what you've done to develop that character, and what, all that parts of bringing in there. Like, actually, on that set, I was actually spent some time watching what they were doing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean, it's just, first of all, it's the first set I've ever been on that was. I mean, and I know this makes me sound like a very young guy, but I'm not. But the first set I've been on that they filmed was actual film, because we filmed in IMAX with, it
Right.
was, real film. And it was, and so many people, when that camera starts going, is people are like, why is it making that noise? Is it broken? I'm like, no, that's real film. And they're like, so it's broken. I was like, no. Like back in the olden days, we had to do this stuff on real film.
Before
And so it's kind of,
DVDs and all this.
yeah, yeah. But it was really cool to actually be a part of that, and actually to you know Robert Downey Jr. was there. He was great. He was very, I mean, to tell you the truth, he was very open to everybody that was around. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Not just, you get a lot of people that get to the A-list set and they're like,
They're just in that.
well, and they're in their mindset. They're in that process of, I'm bringing this character to life, and a lot of times they're just stuck in those blinders.
Yeah.
But he was actually sit there and talk to people and everything else, and just great individual.
That's
You know what I
cool.
mean?
Pretty awesome.
I've been on
Killian,
they're like, don't talk to the talent. Like, don't address them. It's like, okay.
yeah, it's, I mean, they say never meet your heroes, and if you do, lower that expectation
Yeah.
level a little bit.
Yeah.
And I try to, if I ever get to that level and people are like, oh my God, Ted, I got to take a picture with you. Well, I'm going to take the picture and I'm going to smile and everything else. And if they like, hey, will you sign this? Of course I'm going to sign that.
Yeah.
Because I've also met some other stars that I was like, oh my God, that's such and such. Oh, will you sign my, this or that? And they're looking at me like, no, fuckface.
Yeah.
I'm doing something here. And to me, it's almost antithetical again, because it kind of goes back to how I think, these are the people that write your paycheck in an indirect way.
Right.
These
Yeah,
are the
they're
people
famous
that
because of the fans.
yeah, the fans are, I mean, really as actors, we are smiling coat hangers. And I always say this, we stand up, we smile, we recite some lines, but then you look backwards into it, the crew, the directors, everybody else that comes together, that's what makes the movie. And everybody, and then on top of that, outside of that arc, the fans are really what keeps that movie going. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's to lose sight of that, I think is almost an injustice. You know what I mean? And I understand how it can happen really easy, but everybody telling you you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then all of a sudden, I just don't. I'm one of those people that's like, if somebody really was like, "Oh my God, that's Ted," I'd be like, "Yes, come here, give me a hug."
Right
I'm
here.
just so happy. Yeah, I'm so happy that they recognized me.
Yeah.
I'm so happy they saw what I was in. That's
Yeah.
another thing.
What
It's
where were you in Oppenheimer?
I was actually in the when they're grilling Robert Downey Jr. I was actually one of the senators up in the top of it, in the
The
front,
courtroom?
right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind
Cool.
of in the first scenes,
Yeah, I'll look for
and
it.
then I did a couple of things. Well, I have that cool hairline that, oh God, now I'm seeing it even worse in
I
Zoom.
think
But
I know what you're talking
and
about.
I had glasses, I had glasses on too. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, I was literally the only guy from Texas on that set,
Really?
and the only non-union guy on top of that. And that was crazier too, because I'm not SAG. I'm SAG eligible, but I'm not. I haven't joined the union yet.
Right.
And that was really, a lot of people were like, "How did you get that deal?" And I was like, "Well, it was a shot in the dark. Really, I saw, it was a friend of a friend of a friend showed me a casting, and I was like, hmm." And I took a picture of it while we were standing there. I was like, "Oh, that's really neat. Oh, yeah, it's really neat." And so I sent it into, it was shot in the dark. I sent my resume and a couple of headshots and never expected to hear anything back. And like 2 weeks later, they're like, "Hey, can you be in California? Like, we see here you live in Mansfield. Where is that?" And I'm like, "Dallas area." "Oh, okay. We know Texas is big, and we figured that was like out where you were like fighting scorpions or something like that." I was like,
Yeah.
Close, close." But yeah, I was like, and so I flew to LA, did the fitting, and then I was like, whoa. And I remember the coolest thing to me was we did the fittings at Universal Studios. We actually filmed in Pasadena and a place called Alhambra, which a beautiful little town, but I didn't know it even existed until until I drove to it, but doing the fitting at Universal Studios and walking through the back lots, because afterwards they're like, "Yeah, just go," because I was like, it's like these are those fabled back, where they drive the little tram through, and
Yeah.
everybody's like,
Yeah.
and it was so cool because even walking, and I'm, you're seeing sets that they're actually filming on, sound stages and stuff like that. You're like, whoa, and the little tram drives by, and they're like, "Is that guy famous? Oh, hey," and you're like, ah, it was such a cool moment for me. But it was, the coolest thing was, in the back there, they still have the streets from Gotham from the original Batman.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's
that was
awesome.
cool, just kind of stand there. But they also have the original, like, town square from Back to the Future
Oh,
because they've never torn it down.
Nice.
So I sat on a bench right in that town square, and I looked up at the clock, and I was like, "Wow!" It just kind of, you're just like, it's one of those moments. Just you're just like, "Wow!" I feel like a kid in a candy store. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
a little surreal.
Yeah, it was just really surreal. It was, I mean, LA is kind of a character of itself anyhow, but it
Yeah,
was that part walking around that back lot is just because you see the history too, which is really cool to me. I was a couple of years ago, I was in LA for an audition. This is my first in-person audition that I had done in a long, long time. And of course, in LA, so I spent like $600 to go to said audition and didn't get the part. But you know, so I got up early and I was staying over by the Scientology Center, which,
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's a reality show on its own, and it looks like an evil layer of some like master villain,
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
because the whole building is like spray painted like this weird blue color, and then it's got that big Scientology thing up on top of it,
Yeah,
and you're just like, that's weird. So I got up early that morning, and it was literally like 5 hours before the audition, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, but I fly out today, so I'm gonna check out and get all that stuff done. So I check out, and I said, hey, can I leave my bags here? And they go, yeah, we got a room for you. And I was like, I'm going to audition. I'll be back. I go walking, and just walking down the street and seeing, of course, all of LA that had to offer.
oh
LA,
yeah,
the bums throwing up on the side because they just got finished drinking for the night, and the ladies of the night going wherever they go during the day. And just walking along and seeing the business open. I've been seeing people go to work and people commuting and stuff like that. It was really cool. But I passed by the Hollywood Cemetery,
yeah.
and I was like, man, you know what? I said that'd be a good quiet place to clear my head. And they had like security guards out front. And I was like, I walked over there. I was like, hey guys, if I can't do it's cool. But is there any way I can just go walk I'll stay on the road, walk around, but it's just a quiet place back there and clear my head. It's real kind of peaceful and serene. I know it's a cemetery, which is kind of weird, and they're like, yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, come on. Yeah, it's cool. And so walking back there, like, and seeing the graves, which the history, like some of the folks that are buried there, like Chris Cornell was buried there. That was really cool to actually
Oh
see.
yeah. Oh
I mean,
wow.
it's sad, but it's cool. But it was, I mean, I'm like, wow, I mean, I grew up during that era. I mean, you know, uh, Pantera's from here in Arlington,
Yep.
right down the street. And I mean, literally Daryl and his brother Vinny, like they were where I grew up in Arlington, actually, they lived about half a mile away.
Oh
So
yeah.
we used to go yeah, they used to live by my old junior high. So we used to go as kids, like we were in junior high. And this is when they were starting to they were not a hair band anymore. They were more just straight metal.
Yeah.
But we would go over and they would open their garage and they'd jam out in their garage. So we'd sit across the street and like watch. We're like, yeah,
It's awesome.
bunch of us as kids. And they were always really cool about everything. They was really
Started
nice about it. So
senoritas
go ahead.
before they started senoritas or whatever their strip club was.
Yeah, that place is still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, they yeah, well, and it was funny. My wife, weirdly enough, and she knew who they were, but everything, but she grew up in West Texas, so I mean, not as much as like I mean, I went and saw them as kids, at the Buffalo Dome and over, Starplex, which is now Dos Equis, I think, or something like that. I don't know, Fair Park.
Yeah.
And so when when Daryl ended up dying, he got shot, he was buried. Uh, my wife worked as a nurse over by Arlington Memorial Hospital, which she worked at a doctor's office right next to it. But the graveyard, which he's buried, is a huge graveyard, and it's right across the way. And he's right in the front up there where they've kind of, I guess, the famous section. I mean, I,
But he's got a
I don't
he's got a
know.
big memorial too, right?
Yeah, it's like a big, it looks like the Han Solo thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like a picture of him kind of, but she was like, yeah, I used to, every couple of days there'd be a guy that was out there in a trench coat and a hat, and he was, he'd sit out there and he'd drink whiskey by his grave, and he put and he'd leave. And I said, that was his brother.
Yeah. It was
That was a
Vinny.
drummer for, yeah, that was a drummer. And she's like, wow, crazy. I was like, yeah, it is kind of, it's interesting to me, but it's, I mean, it was like, wow, I didn't, thinking about the kind of gravity of it. He just died
Right.
not too long ago, actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
down here, and which is crazy because it's always like the passing of an era to me. You always look at anytime somebody, I say famous actors, musicians, something, sports guys. It's always kind of crazy when you see, because you're like, man, and then you start thinking, I grew up watching that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, I'm getting old. It just makes you think of your own mortality.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Pantera, that was huge for me. I play guitar.
Oh,
I've got a
let me
custom
see.
Dimebag one over there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's the
Hell yeah.
Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Well, tattoos were kind of like it's like baseball cards in the military. You got to collect them all. You can't put them in the spokes of your bicycle though. It doesn't work the same way.
Yeah. Well, you got two full sleeves, don't you?
Yeah, well, mostly
Mostly?
on this side.
Yeah.
And then actually funny enough, Ink Masters, Ollie from that was the guy with the mustache on
Yeah.
Ink Masters is one of the judges. He does my tattoos over
Oh,
Deep
cool.
Elm
Oh,
Tattoo.
sweet.
But it's hard to get in with that man. That man has Jesus, he's
Oh,
booked
I'm
up
sure.
for years almost. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I've got
But
a
that ship's great.
yeah. I've got a kind of like a
Sorry.
standing appointment with the girl that does mine because she's the only one in the building that does color. And I'm trying
Ah,
to
yeah.
finish out my arm. And I'm like, every
Mhm.
September 1st, just mark me down
Mhm.
somewhere in there because I don't want to do it during the summer because I want to get in the pool and I want to go to the lake and I want to be out in the
Yep.
sun.
Yeah.
So every September, she's like, "Hey, you need something?" Like, yeah, why not?
No, I remember like when I met my wife, I had a couple of tattoos and she was like, "Oh, it's okay." She had a tattoo. She was like, "Oh, it's okay. I got a tattoo too." And then I was in the military. I remember I came home one day. And I was like, "Hey, you know what? Thinking about getting my whole arm sleeved up." She's like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." She's like, "Are you stupid?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't think so." And she's like, and finally she was like, "You know what? I'm gonna let you do it. I'm gonna let you do it. I mean, I was going long term in the military, so it
Yeah.
was. She was like, I'm not gonna be out there looking for. And she goes, as long as it's not on your neck or your hands. And I was like, oh no, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And I thought, well, a neck tattoo. Look, no, just kidding.
Man, I
But
can't
I mean,
imagine how
like,
bad that would hurt.
well, to tell you the truth, and people always say like they thought they were talking about the elbows and stuff like that. They're like, oh, it's gotta hurt. And I was like, not as bad as I did my shin.
Yeah.
Because I had extra time with one of my tattoo artists back in when I was in North Carolina. I was in the military. He's like, "You got some extra time? Is there anything else you kind of want to do?" I was like, "You know what? Kind of want to put American flag on my shin, and I've got one tattooed on my shin. That
Yep.
is the worst possible pain." He's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, let's try it." They're like almost a half-ass laugh. He's like, "All right," and I was like, "Jesus, that was rough." And then the other one was I've got my chest done.
Yeah.
When they hit those collarbones,
That
oh
does not feel great.
no, and
I've got
this
them
one,
coming across both collarbones, and it
yeah, this is as do I, and it's not that is not a good feeling, and it's a cross between pain and that rattling because you can feel that
Oh yeah.
rattle and you're like oh god, this is
yeah, it
miserable.
bounces right off the bone there. It,
Yeah. Well, funny enough, in this one, like I've got it says fortune favors the brave in Latin, and the tattoo shop that was actually doing was helping me rework my sleeve back then because the first guy that did it kind of did it in his kitchen and it was rough. It was I was dumb. Let's just put it that way. I was dumb. And so I was, I was like, I gotta go to a professional, get this fixed. So I went to them and great dude. Actually, they were from Arlington, funny enough, but he was a Navy guy and he lived in North Carolina. And he was like, yeah. And so I was like, I made an appointment, kind of standing appointment to come in on like Sundays, like in the morning. And I'd take my youngest daughter with me, who's now graduating from high school, but back when she was like 8, 9 area. And now I really feel old. But I would go there and just get it worked on and stuff like that. And I just had shoulder surgery. I had completely torn my shoulder and torn my bicep. And I armied a little bit too hard. And so they fixed well, I'll say they fixed it. They did their best. They tried. It was like a Jerry's kid attempt. I mean, it's still on there, so it's not, I can't complain
Never
too
gonna be
much, I
like it
guess.
was.
Yeah. But so I'm there. It was actually a Super Bowl, and they're like, we're gonna have a viewing party at the tattoo parlor. And it's not like the tattoo parlors of old, with some fat guy in a vest smoking a cigarette and being
Right.
like, hey, what you want, kid? Drinking a beer. Like this is more a family friendly environment. Like this guy and his wife, they were active in their church and everything else. It was weird to me because I was used to those old tattoo parlors.
Yeah.
But so went down there and I was watching the Super Bowl with them, and their squares, they were giving away stuff too in between quarters. So if you got, instead of being like winning money, they give away something. Well, I was just like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Here's $10. Give me 2 squares. And they're like, do you care? I was like, no, just pick for me.
Yeah.
I end up donating money to these things, never winning anything. I'm the most unlucky person with those things as possible. And they're like, hey, you won. I was like, wait, what? Like, yeah, you get a free tattoo. And I was like, of course, I'm still in the sling like such, like, just
Yeah.
miserable. I was like, yeah, okay. And they're like, yeah, come by in a couple days and we'll work on your arm or something. And I was like, okay, cool. I got there a couple days. I was like, you know what? I think I want to go around the neck. And they're like, really? Okay. I've learned that when they say something like that, I probably should have rethought. It's the second time, and I still didn't rethink it. I should have
They
been
say,
like,
really?
it just kind of that chuckle afterwards. I'm like, oh, I should have said no. But yeah, so I had to unclip my sling. First of all, I take my shirt off and then put the sling back on, unclip the sling, and hold my arm while they're doing the tattoo.
Shit.
That was miserable.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was on Percocet the whole time, so it was like, oh, yeah, I fell asleep.
Yeah, that helps. Fade off a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It took the edge off.
Yeah. Fantastic. We'll keep it an hour, but we'd love to have you back on and do this again, man.
Oh man, I'd love to. I'd love to. I actually, yeah. Anytime y'all want, I'll be right back on here.
Yeah, you're a great
And
storyteller.
no, thank you. Whenever y'all do this, though, can I get a link to it? I'll put it on
Oh yeah,
my
I'll send you
I'll put it on my
everything.
stuff. So oh, that's awesome. No,
I
I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect with a podcast because I'd never done one before. So it's kind of like, am I gonna come out and be like, hey? They're gonna be like, Jesus Christ, this guy sucks. And, or it's just I didn't really understand how the conversation went. It is just a conversation, just
yeah, yeah.
being
We
recorded.
like talking to you when we met you, and we're like, let's have him on. He was good to talk to, easy to talk to.
Yeah.
You don't have to pull conversations out of him. That kind of thing is
No, yeah,
good for
yeah,
pods. But
yeah. No, and
we'll
I
post the
enjoy it.
video and everything as well. So
Awesome.
yeah. And I don't
All right.
think you mentioned Facebook. I always forget that Instagram and Facebook are for connecting because I just use it for like, hey, our new episode's up. Go watch our stuff. I'll add you on everything if I haven't already.
Yeah. Add
Remind
me
me
on
about
there. Add
that.
me on there. It's Tedd Kuchta, TEDDKUCHTA. Yeah, I mean, y'all see it's all my email stuff, but I mean,
And what's your
yeah, I
do
mean,
you have an Instagram?
yeah, it's the same. It's just Tedd Kuchta, and I always have to spell it out because yeah, my last name's horrible looking. Like you're like Kuta, you're like, wow, okay, I'm gonna phonetically spell that. Seems like QTA. Oh no. We're gonna throw in a CH in there just because fuck you, that's why. you know, I don't know why it's there, but I mean but and my first name's spelled with 2 D's because there's a lot of Teds in my family. Weirdly enough, I think we hold the monopoly on the Teds in the US here because we
You
got
got
like
double
10 of them.
D's?
Yeah. I put 2 D's in it because we all had to, me, my cousins, my father, like we all go, and I wasn't really big on people calling me Teddy at, being 30 years old at the time, 20, 30 years old. It was like, that just doesn't seem right. It seemed like a stripper's name somewhere or something like that. I was like, I don't know. So I just put an extra D in it and I was like, okay, so they know who was signed or stuff mail came. You know what I mean? Because my father lives with me. And so anytime we get mail, it's always Theodore Cuda. And we don't know who goes to what. So everybody opens everybody's mail. So it's, I can imagine all the other crap that gets mixed up,
Oh yeah.
you know. So putting that extra D in there, but yeah, it's just TEDD and then KUCHTA.
So
I
if
try
I
to
watch
post a lot. I don't get do what?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I said try to post a lot, but I'm still figuring out social media. That one's been as I didn't grow up with it. It's kind of been, I used to use it for pictures of, videos of cats doing stupid stuff and, and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa.
That's still
You
there.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm still looking. I still do. I think I've got like weirdly enough like 5 different cat uh like pages on Instagram that just because my daughters both have cats, and so I send them funny videos of cats doing dumb stuff. And I've got my wife has a little, I call him the Yap Yap dog, but he's a Coton. They're little tiny dogs, but they're
Yeah.
hypoallergenic, so he's a little neat little dog. And I've got an English bulldog. She snores and farts like a trucker. You know, it's she's rough. She just, and luckily she's not. Her crate's right in my little game room area right here. If she was in there, people would be like, did somebody fall asleep? I was playing a video game one night, and you play with your little headset on, you got your little microphone,
Yeah.
and I was playing, and it was Call of Duty, and so we were going to a different level or in one of the deals, and so it stopped, and everybody's sitting there for a second waiting for it to load up, and my dog starts snoring, and then I hear somebody come on and go, did somebody fall asleep? I go, no, it's late at night. I was like, no, it's my dog. And they're like, Jesus, that's your dog?
Yeah.
How big is your dog? And I was like, well, she's like 50 pounds. So it's not big. And they're like, what kind of dog is it? I was like, English bulldog. And she's like, oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
No question.
And she's got an attitude. Yeah. She throws temper tantrums all the time and doesn't like us very much. But no, I'd love to be back on here. I could talk for days.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll have you back on, and we'll and if
Yeah,
you're
yeah, you got
watching
my-
this, where is it? Ted's name is down there in the corner. If you don't remember how to spell it,
Yep.
right over there.
Yep.
Go follow him.
I didn't
on
even think about
Facebook
that.
and Instagram. And
Yeah. We should have some pretty interesting stuff coming out.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's awesome, man. No, you're good. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it as well. This has been great, guys, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for the time, man. I know you're a busy man.